Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to deliver your September 2016 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for those of you who are continuing to watch and listen and follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your support and feedback and awesome comments are so very welcome and appreciated. Keep them up, particularly those who write about how the readings resonate. As your lives play forward, for those of you for whom they do indeed resonate. As you can see from my background, I am back at my home base after having been in Eastern Europe for a month, trying to get back into a different time zone, which can be kind of challenging. But as those of you who follow my channel know, I continued to post and to work with clients while I was gone as well, which was an extraordinary opportunity. As the energies are different from place to place. So thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you also to my clients for your continued feedback on how the personal readings continue to play out in your lives. Thank you to those of you who continue to reach out for one-on-one readings. They are my favorite things to do, and I really appreciate the trust that you place in me to interpret and intuit the cards for you. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading, you can click on the little About sign on my YouTube channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more information in detail on who I am and what I do and my contact information, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. If you're interested in a reading, you can just email me and I would be delighted to work with you, and we will go from there and set something up for you. In terms of turnaround time, it can be anywhere from 3 or 4 days to up to a week and a half or so, depending on whether you want something recorded or live, and coordination of times and time zones and all of that stuff. So again, if you're interested, just email me and I'm sure we'll be able to accommodate you within 10 days at most. So make sure, this is a general reading, of course, so make sure you check your rising and your moon sign as well, because if this is your primary sun sign, it may or may not resonate for you. Or you may find that, like I often do, that each of your 3 signs, sun, moon, and rising, may resonate for you in different areas of your life. Just watch all 3 if you can to get as whole and definitive a picture as possible of the time span ahead that the reading covers. And I continue to use the Gilded Tarot deck. And even though we're focusing more on the last half of the month and the month in its entirety, I'm still going to be using the same 8-card spread with an additional 9th card as your crowning energy and advice over the reading. So let's get right into this. This reading is for Virgo for September 2016 mid-month. The Earth sign of Virgo, September 2016 mid-month. What does the remainder of September 2016 hold for our Virgoans? Virgo for September 2016 mid-month. Virgo, September 2016 mid-month. Okay. We begin with the 9 of Wands, followed by the 5 of Wands, the Queen of Wands, followed by the Tower, the Knight of Cups, followed by the Wheel of Fortune, and the 7 of Wands, followed by the King of Wands. From the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and advice, your crowning card is the Star. Lovely, lovely. Let's just take a quick look, Virgo. Really fascinating reading, Virgo, and one that is going to split off into a few different stories and play out differently. Of course, it always does, because there's so many of you watching with different things going on in your lives. But I'm getting kind of a barrage of very different stories here. So let's see if we can kind of weave the tapestry threads together, and hopefully it makes sense to those of you for whom needs to hear it. So let's begin. We find ourselves in the middle of September 2016, give or take, time being fluid, with the Nine of Wands, followed by the Five of Wands. And you actually have a fair amount of Wands energy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Wands cards here. Wands can represent career, projects, inspiration. They can play out for a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, but they can specifically often point to those issues as well. The suit of Wands is governed by the element of fire. So the suit of Wands is a very action-oriented, fiery, active suit. Its energy is creative. It's creating, manifesting, building things. It's change, movement, action, power, forward momentum. The Nine of Wands represents being almost at the very tail end of dealing with something, as 10 would represent the end of a cycle or the culmination, coming full circle of something. The Nine of Wands represents having basically one last hurdle, one last obstacle, one last thing that needs to be dealt with. I don't like to say test because I'm not a big believer in the universe testing us. I'm not really a big believer in or a big follower in the universe actually doing that, or God actually doing that. But the Nine of Wands represents needing to take a little bit of a step back to look at something, perhaps reflect, assess, get a different perspective on something, and figure out how to do it, perhaps do it in a different way, and then going back in and dealing with it. As is evidenced by the picture on this card, this soldier has retreated a little bit. He's sunk down in the grass. He's holding on to this one wand. And behind him is this cluster of 8 wands, which represents a block of some kind, an obstacle, a challenge of some kind, which he wasn't expecting. He was just kind of going along on his path, la 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 la, and all of a sudden up comes this challenge, obstacle, delay, block, something. He's taken a bit of a step back. He's withdrawn a little bit, not a retreat, but he's withdrawn a little bit to figure it out, reassess, strategize. What happened? Did something go wrong? Did I do something wrong? How do I get through this, over it, around it? How do I deal with it? Because the underlying energy of this is this soldier who's been through a lot and he's already conquered quite a bit. It's just one last thing he needs to deal with before he moves on through and away from something. And it's some kind of conflict of some kind, because the Nine of Wands is paired with the Five of Wands, which does represent conflict. It can represent instability, loss. It can also represent opportunity for change as well, which is what which is really what challenge and obstacles are about. Or they're opportunities to change, opportunities to become better or stronger in areas perhaps that we're not so great at. But it can represent conflict. It often represents internal conflict, but it doesn't necessarily. It can also represent external conflict in kind of a circular, sometimes petty, never-ending sort of way, with nobody really winning, nobody really losing, but the battle and the conflict just continuing in this circular way over and over and over again. Secondarily, the Five of Wands can also represent becoming better at something by working at it with a group of people, but I'm not getting that energy off of this reading for you, especially based on the rest of the cards. I'm feeling that paired with the Nine of Wands, in the middle of September 2016, Virgo, there's some kind of conflict going on, whether it's internal within yourself about something, whether it's external with someone or a group of someones, or a combination of both. It could be a combination of both. It's about, paired with the Nine of Wands, it's about needing to take a step back and kind of reevaluate the situation, perhaps try and look at it in a different way, get a different perspective on it to try and figure it out, because it feels like you're at the tail end of it, the tail end of doing something, the tail end of dealing with something that's part of a bigger picture. Because I don't feel like, even though whatever has come up or whatever is coming up feels kind of unexpected, I feel like it's part of a larger thing for a lot of you that's been in existence for some time. And what that is, I don't know. It could be relationship difficulties, or a particular relationship or situation. We do have a lot of wands, so for some of you this could be career related, project related, something of that sort. Now next to that we have the Queen of Wands paired with the Tower. So let's start with the Tower. Major Arcana card, which represents those divine energies, those external energies which we have absolutely no control over, coming in to affect some kind of significant or profound change in our lives. This can be an actual tangible change. The energy of the Tower card, and when I say we don't have any control over it, because it's external energy coming in, it's divine energy coming in, which means it's a matter of divine timing and orchestration. And the Tower card can often, not always, it represents something really rocking your world right down to its foundations. Sometimes this can be something actually quite beautiful and wonderful, and sometimes, you know, a lot of people don't like to see the Tower card because it often represents the destruction or removal from something in our lives that we're often attached to. And usually in that instance, sometimes, not all the time, but often we've been given opportunities prior to this happening to deal with it ourselves, but for whatever reasons we've been unable or unwilling to deal with it. And so at some point the universe comes in and says, okay, we're going to affect this change ourselves. And it usually happens, as is evidenced by this card, very unexpectedly, and at the time can sometimes feel very challenging, painful, even traumatic sometimes. The key to understanding and utilizing the energy of the Tower card, and cards like it, any of that divine major arcana energy, is to try not to resist it and fight it too much, because it represents a divine timing and orchestration, things playing out as they're meant to. And as the saying goes, what we resist persists. And if we fight and struggle against it, even though if it's about loss or letting go of something, it makes it a lot harder and a lot longer for us to get through it. So that's kind of the key to utilizing and understanding the Tower card. So for you, Virgo, it looks like just a more significant echo of this Knight of Wands. Something unexpected happening, something coming in and unexpectedly happening to really kind of shake something right down to the foundations. It could mean the destruction or removal of an actual tangible thing, a home, a job, a career path, a relationship. It could also represent the foundational the death of a way of looking at something, a foundational belief, something that you kind of built your whole life on. However it plays out specifically for those of you, it represents it happening in an unexpected kind of, and very challenging for some of you, kind of way, because you thought this thing that's being removed or destroyed, somehow you thought was real, stable, foundational. You can see this man is falling out of this tower, which was his home, and he thought it was stable. It's built out of bricks, but turns out there's a flaw in the foundation somewhere. This bolt of lightning, this divine energy has come in out of nowhere and struck it, throwing this man out of his tower home completely naked, which implies a strong sense of vulnerability and unexpectedness as well. But again, either it's something that's absolutely not meant to be part of your karmic path anymore, something that's flawed with its foundation somehow. So remember that, even though it may feel challenging at the time to deal with whatever this represents for you. Now, over that Tower card, we have the Queen of Wands. So we have that same fiery wand energy. Queens and kings representing often, the court cards represent actual people a lot of the time, not always. It can just represent the energy. Queens and kings typically represent individuals who have reached the mastery of their suit, the achievement of the character traits of their suit. So this queen has reached the top of her game in the suit of wands, which is governed by fire. So this could represent an actual fire sign in your life, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, or somebody who strongly manifests the character traits of the Queen of Wands, which means even if they're another primary sun sign, they probably have a lot of fire in their natal chart. So this Queen of Wands would be somebody very fiery, very feisty, very much a go-getter, very passionate, creative. She's really good at getting the job done. She's really good at inspiring others to get the job done, at delegating. She's not one to rest on her laurels for very long because she's action-oriented. She makes a decision and then acts on it. She sometimes has difficulty in compromise negotiating with other people because she has her own way of getting things done, and she often feels that that way is the best way to do it. She can sometimes come across as bossy or aggressive. Now, over the Tower card, attached with this Tower card, it looks like whatever this conflict is, it it looks like it culminates in this Tower card energy or escalates into this Tower card energy. And but that it's again, strong feeling of divine timing and orchestration. This is meant to be happening because it's time to deal with this thing once and for all. It feels like there's one final thing that you need to do. It's interesting because I just finished a reading for Libra, and they had a very similar energy too. I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde or what, but for you it's conflict, and for some of you, the conflict can be with this Queen of Wands. You have some kind of major conflict which escalates perhaps into a big fight or a big ultimatum sort of thing, something which really rocks your world. For some of you, you could be going through this Tower card conflictive energy with the Queen of Wands, like more as a partner rather than an opponent or someone that you're set against. We do have the King of Wands at the end as well. So we have the Queen and King of Wands. For some of you, although I think this might be a smaller portion, some of you might be caught in between a warring couple of some kind. But however you look at it, it feels like this conflict, and again, it feels like it just goes around and around and around and around, and it's time. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be laid to rest. And it looks like the energies of the divine are coming in to kind of help orchestrate that. Now, next to that, we have the Knight of Cups paired with the Wheel of Fortune. And I really feel quite strongly that you're going to get some unexpected helps, an unexpected source of support in dealing with this. This Knight of Cups, Cups is governed by the element of water. So Cups is a suit all about that watery fluid world of emotions and feelings, relationships and love. All different types of relationships and all different types of love. I mean, this conflict, if it has to do with this Queen of Wands, or is kind of, you're pitted against this, you guys are against each other. It could be anybody. It could be a mate. It could be a best friend, a family relative, etc. So this Knight of Cups, Cups is about our emotions, our feelings. And this Knight of Cups would represent somebody bringing something to you. Typically when you see knights in the upright position, they represent something being brought to you, an offer, an offering, an opportunity of some kind. And because this Knight is the Knight of Cups, which is feelings, emotions, relationships, loves, it's an emotional offering, and I believe it's an offer of love and support. And I feel like it's in helping you deal with this, because I feel like it's a struggle for you. And again, some of you, this Queen of Wands might be somebody that's partnering with you or with you in going through this Tower energy. But I feel like for a lot of you, the source of this conflict is kind of centered and caught up around you and this Queen of Wands individual. And this Knight of Cups is coming in to make an offer of support, of assistance somehow. And it could be an actual water sign making this offer, which would be Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. But it doesn't have to be. It just represents the offer itself and the offer of support in helping you get through this somehow. It could be just emotional support for you itself, or perhaps support in mediating between the two of you as well. It really depends on kind of how it plays out. And I feel again like it's an unexpected offer, but it's really a stroke of good luck and good fortune, because it's accompanied by the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position, another major arcana card representing a stroke of good luck, good fortune, the wheel, at least our perspective of it, being on the upswing for you, something fortuitous happening. But it's major arcana card, so it's significant, profound energy. And this offer is it's a significant offer, and it could be something that actually makes the difference in how this thing actually plays out in terms of trying to lay this to rest and resolve this conflict. Now, at or towards the end of September 2016, Virgo, we have the Seven of Wands paired with the King of Wands. So the Seven of Wands is primarily a defensive card. It can represent being defensive. Sometimes it can represent being too defensive, and there's certainly enough conflictive energy in here that it could represent you're being too defensive about something, or somebody else being too defensive about something, because it's paired with that King of Wands. It can also represent standing by something you believe very strongly in because of how much you've invested in it. You can see that this man is standing in front of the door to his castle, his keep, his home, his whatever the situation represents, and he feels a strong sense of ownership in this. he's in protective guarding mode because of how much he's invested of himself in it, whether it's just emotional investment, time, money, resources, etc. He feels it's being challenged or threatened somehow by these 6 wands. So this can represent standing up for something that you believe in, standing up for somebody you believe in, protecting and defending something you feel very strongly about or that you've invested a lot of yourself in. And it's paired with the King of Wands. You have both the Queen and King of Wands here. Again, it could be that this conflict is about this couple. It could be some kind of divorce or custody situation, but it just feels very conflictive, very hot, very passionate. There's a lot of fire energy in here. Now, this could split off a few different ways, this combination. This King of Wands, the Queen and King of Wands share almost exactly the same character traits. The King just has more of an external controlling influence than the Queen, because Queens have a bit more of that softer, nurturing, caretaking sort of energy, although the Queen of Wands can be pretty aggressive herself. The King of Wands has also reached the master of his suit, real go-getter, same character traits. Attached to the Seven of Wands, this could play out a couple of very different ways for those of you watching. It could be that this offer that comes in out of nowhere that's really unexpected, it's what you actually need, and it may make a significant difference in the outcome of how this plays out or resolves itself or gets resolved. It could be that this, and I feel like for some of you, the person who actually makes this offer is this King of Wands. And this King of Wands individual, which could be an actual fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, male, is actually partnering with you in a very needed and wanted and necessary sort of way to help you defend something, to help you protect something. I mean, for some of you, if this is like a divorce, custody, property, legal, job, career, I mean, however it plays out, it could be that this King of Wands is, like an attorney or somebody who, I feel like for a lot of you, this King of Wands is the person making this very fortuitous and just in the nick of time offer of this help of support and helping you defend, protect, and stand up for something you feel very strongly in, something you've invested a lot of yourself in. For some of you, what you're defending against or standing up for and opposing is this King of Wands. It could be that you're set against this King of Wands. Again, for some of you, it may be some kind of being caught in between a couple or caught in between this Queen and King of Wands and this conflicted energy. And it could be that for some of you that this offer of support that comes in out of nowhere is actually from you. I mean, this can split out into 3 or 4 different varieties of ways because it's a general reading. There's a lot of you watching, and it really depends on who's watching and what's going on in your life. And I always rely on you for feedback, for those of you for whom this resonates, on how it actually plays out. But the energies remain the same. Now, your overall energy, crowning card, advice, is the Major Arcana card of the Star, one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck. My 2 favorite cards are the Star and the Fool. I love these cards. The Star card is a beautiful card. It's a card of hope and faith. It's a card of having hope and faith in the path in front of you, in the success and eventual beauty and joy in the path in front of you. Even if it doesn't look like it at the time, even if you can't see it, even if it feels like it isn't going to be that way, it's about having hope and faith in the promise and potential that what's happening is divine timing and orchestration, that it needs to play out this way, and that everything's going to be okay. Do what's in front of you to do, of course, but have hope and faith that it's going to work out as it was meant to work out, that it's actually already worked out. It's just walking the steps of the path. That's what this woman is doing. She's pouring her pictures out, completely emptying them out, which can be symbolic for just about anything. She's completely emptying them out into the water because she knows that her pitchers will be refilled because the source is limitless. She knows she's going to be taken care of. She knows that whatever happens and however it plays out, it's going to be as it's meant to, and that it's going to lead to her eventual joy and happiness and betterment as an individual. She has that much hope and faith in the path, in her connection to the divine, whatever that might be. It's a card of having hope and faith that this is going to play out as it needs to be and as it's meant to be, and also to allow your connection with the divine, seeking out that connection that you have, and asking for help and asking for intuition to lead you as well and how to do this. It looks like It looks like for those of you who is the supportive person in this role, you're going to be making an offer of help and support and assistance that could really make the difference. For a lot of you, it looks like you're kind of in the middle of dealing with all of this. It looks kind of intense for a little while in the beginning, but an unexpected offer, perhaps from an unexpected source, comes in kind of in the nick of time is what I'm feeling, and again, will make a significant difference in how this thing plays out. At the end of the month, you could be partnering with another fire sign, this King of Wands, in defending, protecting, standing by, holding firm to whatever it is that you're defending and protecting. It feels very fiery. There's a lot of fire energy here, but again, it looks like you're going to get, well, we always get what we need in the end. It looks like you're going to get what you need, particularly the help that you need. And your overall crowning card being that beautiful message of hope and faith, that it's going to play out as it's meant to. And go with what your divine sense of intuition and knowing is. If you feel led a certain way, follow that. So Virgo, kind of an intense reading, but I feel like I mean, the star card ensures it's all going to play out okay, even though it looks like for a bit, particularly in the beginning, it looks like it's going to be a little challenging and intense. You're going to get the help that you need, and it's going to work out okay in the end. It's actually going to work out great in the end because the star card kind of ensures that and asks you to have hope and faith in that as well as this continues to play out, which I believe it will, going into a little bit of October for most of you Virgos. So Virgo, that's your mid-month reading. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least have found it useful in some way, that it's brought you a little bit of wisdom and insight and clarity, because that's why we do these. If any of you would care for a personal one-on-one reading, don't hesitate to email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you on whatever situation you are seeking guidance about. And I will see all of you in a couple of weeks for the October 2016 general readings. And until then, Virgo, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.